The tension had been building quietly, almost like a storm no one wanted to name out loud. Then suddenly, it exploded. What started as a few sharp words turned into a full-blown cultural clash when Aries Spears stepped right into the middle of the ongoing feud between 50 Cent and T.I. And what he said has fans questioning everything they thought they understood about loyalty, pride, and power in the industry. You might think you have seen celebrity beef before, but this one feels different. It is not just about music, money, or ego anymore. It is about identity, respect, and the kind of games that people do not usually say out loud. When Aries sat down and casually dropped the phrase, "Games only black people play," it did not land as a joke. It landed like a spark in a room full of gasoline. Fans are shocked, social media is in chaos, and behind the scenes, emotions ran high as insiders began to leak what really pushed Aries to speak out. Was he defending one side, or exposing both? And more importantly, why now? Sources close to the situation claim that what you are seeing publicly is only a fraction of what is actually happening. There are whispers of private arguments, old grudges being reopened, and alliances shifting in ways no one expected. Even people close to 50 and T.I. are said to be taking sides, leaving friendships strained and the circle tighter than ever. But here is where it gets even more intense. Aries Spears did not just comment. He challenged the entire narrative, and once those words were out, there was no taking them back. Now the question is simple, but the answer is anything but. Is this just another celebrity feud, or did Aries just expose a deeper truth that no one was ready to hear? The moment Aries Spears said those words, the room did not just go quiet, it shifted. You could feel it, the kind of silence that is not empty but heavy, like everyone present knew something had just crossed a line that could not be uncrossed. And even though he tried to lean back like it was just another casual remark, the weight of it lingered in the air. Because this was not just about 50 Cent and T.I. anymore. It had moved beyond that. What Aries tapped into was something deeper, something that had been quietly sitting underneath years of competition, pride, and unspoken rules. And the second it came out, fans started picking sides in a way no one expected. Behind the scenes, things were already tense. 50 had been throwing subtle shots for weeks, nothing direct, nothing you could point to and say this is where it started, but enough for people close to him to know he was building toward something. And T.I., known for his calm but sharp responses, was not ignoring it. He was watching, waiting, letting the tension stretch just enough before responding. But what no one expected was for Aries to step in like this. One insider later said, it was like he poured gasoline on something that was already burning low. Nobody thought he would say it out loud, and that is exactly what made it dangerous. Because suddenly, the conversation shifted from who said what, to why these situations keep happening in the first place. And not everyone was comfortable with that. Fans are shocked, but inside the circle, emotions ran high almost immediately. People started making calls, texts were flying, and it was not just about defending reputations anymore, it was about control. Who gets to speak, who gets to call things out, and who is supposed to stay silent? 50, as expected, did not respond right away, and that silence was louder than anything he could have posted. People close to him described him as calm, almost too calm, sitting back and watching everything unfold like it was part of a plan no one else could see. One close associate whispered, when he goes quiet like that, it means he is thinking. And when he is thinking, somebody is about to get hurt. On the other side, T.I. was not silent, but he was measured. He spoke carefully, choosing his words like someone who knows every sentence will be picked apart. But even in his calm tone, there was tension. Folks gotta understand the difference between observation and disrespect, he said in a private conversation that later leaked. Because once you cross that line, you cannot act surprised by what comes next. And that is when things started to fracture. Because while some people agreed with Aries, saying he was just speaking truth, others felt he had crossed into dangerous territory. Not because of what he said, but because of how he said it and who he said it about. The family was left divided, not in the literal sense, but in the way circles break when trust is tested. Friends who once stood together were now quietly choosing sides. Some stayed loyal to 50, believing he was being provoked. Others leaned toward T.I., feeling he was being unfairly dragged into something bigger than him. And then there were those who looked at Aries and asked a different question entirely. What was his real intention? Because people who knew him said this was not random. Aries is known for pushing boundaries, yes, but this felt calculated. Like he knew exactly what reaction he would get and said it anyway. One voice from the industry put it bluntly. He did not slip, he aimed, and that idea started spreading fast. Fans began digging into old interviews, old jokes, old moments where Aries had brushed up against controversial topics. Suddenly, everything was being re-examined. Every word, every tone, every look. And as that happened, the pressure grew. Because now, it was no longer just about the beef. It was about perception, about who controls the narrative and who gets labeled as the villain. 50 eventually broke his silence, but not in the way people expected. There was no direct attack, no explosive rant. Instead, he posted something cryptic, something that seemed unrelated at first glance, but those who were paying attention knew exactly what it meant. People talk loud when they want attention. Real ones move in silence. It was short, simple, but it hit hard, because it told everyone one thing. He was aware, and he was not rushing. Meanwhile, T.I. responded in a different way, not with subtlety, but with clarity. He addressed the situation head-on in a conversation that quickly made its way online. "I do not play games with my character," he said, his voice steady but firm. "If you got something to say it straight. Do not dress it up and call it commentary." That line alone sent shockwaves through fans. Because now, it felt personal. Aries, for his part, did not back down. If anything, he leaned in further. In another appearance, he doubled down on his statement, refusing to soften it or take it back. "Y'all mad because I said it, not because it ain't true," he said, shrugging like the chaos around him was just background noise. And that was the moment everything escalated. Because now, there was no misunderstanding. No room to pretend it was taken the wrong way. It was clear, intentional, and unapologetic. Emotions ran high across every side. Fans argued endlessly online. Friends stopped speaking. And inside the industry, people began to wonder how far this would go. Because this was not just about three men anymore. It was about pride, respect, and the unspoken rules that suddenly did not feel so unspoken anymore. And as the days passed, the tension only grew thicker. Whispers turned into conversations, conversations into heated debates, and debates into outright confrontations. Those closest to 50 Cent claimed he was strategizing, planning moves that no one else could anticipate. People who had once been allies began questioning their loyalty, wondering whether aligning with him meant walking into a trap they could not escape. Meanwhile, T.I.'s circle was not any calmer. Friends and family alike weighed in, their opinions as fiery as their loyalty. The room, the internet, and the industry itself felt like it was standing on a knife's edge. Insiders hinted that private meetings had been happening late at night, calls that would last hours, with voices tense, sometimes breaking, sometimes controlled, always calculated. One source revealed, "It's like a chess game, but every piece has feelings. Every move creates ripple effects that no one can stop," and the ripple effect was already being felt. Fans were dissecting every social media post, every subtle gesture, every hint of sarcasm or humor, treating them like clues in a thriller. But the real twist came when Aries' spears went even deeper, sharing behind-the-scenes stories from his perspective. He spoke of past encounters, late-night conversations, moments where 50 and T.I. had almost crossed lines that never made it to public knowledge. It was shocking because what he revealed was intimate, personal, and messy. It gave fans a glimpse into the private world of celebrity alliances and rivalries, a world where pride often outweighed reason. "People think they know, but they have no idea," Aries said in an interview that went viral within hours. "They see the surface, the tweets, the posts, the drama. They don't see the fear, the strategy, the history, and that fear," the source added, "was real." 50 and T.I., both seasoned in handling conflicts, were now confronted with an unpredictable variable: Aries himself. He had become the wild card, the one who could shift perceptions in ways neither rapper could fully control. Emotions ran high during a meeting that insiders later described as explosive. Voices were raised, hands gestured wildly, and the air was thick with tension. 50 reportedly slammed his fist on the table at one point, silencing the room instantly. "Enough games," he shouted. "I don't need lectures from anyone, let alone someone who doesn't understand the full picture." T.I., calm but firm, leaned forward and countered, "I don't need to prove anything to anyone, but don't try to rewrite history. Don't make it about things that never happened." The drama extended beyond these meetings. Family members, friends, collaborators, and even former associates began taking sides. People who had been silent for years felt compelled to speak. One close friend of T.I. commented, "We've been loyal, but we cannot let misinformation or manipulation go unchecked." while on the other side, 50's allies were equally vocal, emphasizing loyalty and defending his approach. The tension created a strange kind of war zone where everyone felt the pressure to choose, to declare, and to commit. Social media amplified everything. Memes, edited clips, screenshots, and commentary spread like wildfire. Fans dissected every word Aries said, every post 50 uploaded, every subtle hint from T.I. Some fans applauded Aries for speaking the truth, while others criticized him for making a personal feud public. Some defended 50, claiming he had been provoked unfairly, while others praised T.I. for holding his ground. It became a cultural conversation, not just a celebrity feud, and just when it seemed like things could calm down, an unexpected revelation shook everyone. Sources claimed there was a private video that had surfaced, showing a behind-the-scenes conversation between 50 and T.I. months ago. The footage, incomplete and heavily debated, suggested tensions that predated Aries' involvement. Insiders leaked portions of it online, causing chaos. Fans argued over interpretations, emotions escalated, rumors spread faster than facts. Throughout all of this, Aries remained unpredictable. He did not retreat, he did not soften, and he refused to be silenced. Each new comment, each clarification, each viral clip he shared added layers to the story. It became clear that his role was not just commentator or mediator, it was provocateur. The way he framed his statements, the timing, the choice of words, all pointed to a calculated effort to expose truths while stirring the pot. And yet, the most shocking element was not the revelations themselves. It was the effect on the men at the center. 50, usually unshakable in public perception, was now visibly calculating, more cautious, and, according to insiders, increasingly restless. T.I., known for measured responses, began showing cracks in private moments, questioning loyalty and alliances in ways he rarely had to before. Both men had built careers on control, on commanding attention, on managing narratives, and suddenly, they were participants in a story they could not fully steer. As arguments spilled over from private circles into public platforms, emotions ran higher than ever. Fans debated endlessly, taking sides, sharing theories, speculating on motives. The line between truth and interpretation blurred. Everything felt urgent, everything felt explosive. In this environment, one wrong move could ignite more drama than anyone imagined. Aries' presence, now undeniable and central, created a strange paradox. By speaking up, he drew attention to dynamics that had always existed but had remained hidden. Yet in doing so, he also became a focal point, a lightning rod for criticism, admiration, and speculation. People began questioning not just the rapper's actions, but the very system of celebrity, influence, and social power that allowed such feuds to escalate. Even casual observers could sense the intensity. What started as a feud between two giants of hip-hop had evolved into a multi-layered conflict involving strategy, loyalty, family ties, and cultural commentary. Everyone watching felt like a participant, a judge, a witness, and an interpreter all at once. And just as quickly as the drama escalated, anticipation built for the next revelation, the next statement, the next leak. The cycle of tension, reaction, and escalation had no clear end in sight. And as the story unfolded further, the stakes escalated to a level that no one in the industry had anticipated. 50's camp reportedly grew increasingly frustrated with the leaks and commentary, feeling that every public word Aries uttered was undermining his carefully cultivated image. Insiders said that late-night strategy sessions stretched for hours, with advisors urging caution while 50 fumed in private, pacing back and forth, muttering about loyalty and betrayal. Meanwhile, T.I.'s circle was equally tense, with close friends and family members debating whether to confront the situation head-on or let it play out. Every decision seemed weighted, every move scrutinized, and the tension was palpable. Fans online noticed the subtle but unmistakable shift. Tweets, Instagram posts, and even cryptic messages on private stories became a battleground. Memes and screenshots multiplied, dissecting every facial expression, every tone of voice, and every carefully phrased sentence. Social media was ablaze, with emotions running high and opinions flying fast. Some argued that Aries had crossed a line, while others celebrated him for finally voicing what many had sensed but never dared to articulate. The debate became more than just a feud. It became a cultural moment, sparking conversations about respect, identity, and the unspoken rules within the Black entertainment community. Amid all of this, Aries did not hesitate to escalate further. In an interview that immediately went viral, he recounted private anecdotes involving both 50 and T.I., painting a picture of competitiveness, pride, and unspoken tension that had been simmering for years. "People think they know what's going on," Aries said, his tone calm but pointed. "They see the surface, the public quarrels, the tweets, the posts. But the real story is in the spaces between the words, in the choices people make when nobody's watching." Fans reacted instantly, sharing clips, analyzing statements, and speculating about what might happen next. It was clear that Aries had tapped into something deeper, something personal and provocative. As the public attention intensified, the personal toll on 50 and T.I. became apparent. Sources reported that both men experienced nights of restless sleep, constantly checking messages, preparing responses, and weighing every public appearance. The stress seemed to manifest in subtle ways: a short temper in private meetings, delayed responses, and sudden cancellations of plans. Even longtime friends expressed concern. "They've never had this kind of pressure," one insider said. Aries has exposed vulnerabilities that neither 50 nor T.I. were ready to confront publicly. The drama also spilled into the professional arena. Collaborators, producers, and industry executives began reconsidering projects, wary of becoming entangled in the high-stakes feud. Deals were reportedly paused, meetings postponed, and conversations that once felt routine turned into tense negotiations. The impact extended beyond personal rivalry, reaching into business, reputation, and influence within the music world. What had begun as a clash of personalities had evolved into a multi-layered saga affecting careers and relationships alike. And just when it seemed the situation might stabilize, a new twist emerged. Leaked messages allegedly between 50 and T.I. surfaced online, hinting at conversations that predated Aries' involvement. Fans pounced on the content, dissecting every line and reading between every word. Speculation ran rampant. Were they actually planning a collaboration that fell apart, or was there hidden resentment that had been building quietly? The ambiguity added fuel to the fire, keeping the drama alive and intensifying debates across social platforms. Aries, ever aware of the effect of his words, continued to amplify the tension. He appeared in interviews, podcasts, and live streams, refusing to soften his commentary. Each statement seemed meticulously timed, designed to provoke reflection and reaction. Insiders described him as a masterful provocateur, capable of pushing buttons while maintaining an aura of detachment. "He knows the game," one source said. "He's not just speaking, he's orchestrating." Emotions escalated as both 50 and T.I. had to navigate the increasingly complex landscape. Fans began taking sides in ways that mirrored the divisions within their circles. Some were loyal to 50, defending his every move and criticizing Aries for interference. Others rallied behind T.I., praising his calm responses and resilience in the face of public scrutiny. Social media, long a platform for celebrity dialogue, transformed into a digital war zone where every comment, like, or share was loaded with significance. The family and close friends of both rappers felt the pressure acutely, with private conversations strained by the fear of miscommunication or unintended leaks. As weeks passed, the feud morphed into a phenomenon that extended beyond the original personalities involved. Commentators, journalists, and influencers joined the conversation, analyzing motives, strategies, and potential outcomes. Debates touched on identity, cultural dynamics, and the complex social codes governing interactions in the Black entertainment community. What had begun as a personal clash now served as a lens through which larger societal questions were examined. The ripple effects were undeniable, shaping narratives that transcended music and comedy, touching on loyalty, respect, and the consequences of speaking truths some wished remained hidden. Throughout the chaos, Aries maintained a sense of calculated detachment. He did not intervene unnecessarily but offered enough insight to keep attention focused on the unfolding drama. His role as commentator, mediator, and provocateur blurred, leaving fans and insiders alike guessing about his next move. Each statement, each revelation, each subtle remark reinforced the idea that he was not just an observer but a central figure capable of steering perceptions and influencing the reactions of everyone involved. In the midst of all this, the dynamics between 50 and T.I. shifted in ways no one anticipated. Their interactions, once defined by rivalry and competitive respect, now carried an undercurrent of caution and awareness. Each word, each gesture, each public appearance was carefully measured, reflecting the pressure to maintain dignity while navigating a conflict amplified by social media, public scrutiny, and Aries' interventions. Friends and family found themselves acting as buffers, trying to prevent minor disagreements from becoming full-blown confrontations. Yet despite these efforts, the tension remained high, a constant reminder that the feud had entered a new, unpredictable phase. The situation continued to spiral as new layers of tension emerged almost daily. What started as pointed comments from Aries' spears quickly became a full-blown spectacle that neither 50 Cent nor T.I. could control. Insiders reported that both camps were on high alert, monitoring social media trends, fan reactions, and even casual mentions in interviews. Every new post was analyzed, every subtle facial expression dissected, and every ambiguous statement became a potential flashpoint. The pressure was relentless, and both men were feeling the strain. Private conversations reportedly grew more intense, with 50 allegedly holding late-night strategy sessions to anticipate possible attacks and plan responses. T.I., meanwhile, leaned on trusted advisors, emphasizing measured responses and careful messaging. But the unpredictability of Aries' commentary created a new challenge. He was no longer just a voice on the sidelines. He had become a catalyst, a force capable of pushing both men into public reactions they might otherwise have avoided. Fans noticed the difference immediately, speculating endlessly about the implications of every appearance and statement. The drama was further complicated when leaked footage from private meetings surfaced online. The clips were incomplete, edited, and open to interpretation, but they revealed moments of tension, frustration, and unfiltered emotion. In one clip, 50 was seen pacing a room, visibly agitated, muttering about loyalty and trust. In another, T.I. calmly addressed a group of collaborators, emphasizing integrity and the importance of not letting provocations dictate actions. The contrast was stark, and fans debated which approach was more effective, which was more honorable, and which might ultimately prevail. Social media exploded with theories, memes, and speculation, fueling the fire in ways no one could have anticipated. Aries, aware of the chaos he had unleashed, continued to engage selectively. In interviews and social media appearances, he provided context, shared anecdotes, and occasionally teased revelations that seemed to deepen the tension. "People need to understand," he said in one viral clip, "this isn't just about words. It's about history, respect, and the patterns we've seen repeated over and over. Some games are subtle, but they leave scars that everyone feels." The statement was cryptic yet powerful, drawing both praise and criticism. Fans dissected every nuance, arguing about intentions, accuracy, and consequences. The ripple effects extended beyond 50, T.I. and Aries. Friends, collaborators, and family members found themselves navigating an increasingly fraught landscape. Relationships that had seemed stable were tested, alliances shifted, and private disagreements occasionally spilled into the public sphere. Insiders described heated debates over loyalty, reputation, and the best way to manage the fallout. It became clear that this was no longer just a celebrity feud. It had become a study in human behavior, a showcase of how pride, perception, and provocation can interact in unpredictable ways. Meanwhile, the fans remained a driving force in the drama. Online discussions ranged from speculative analysis to passionate defense of one side or the other. Some applauded Aries for bringing hidden truths to light, while others criticized him for stirring conflict that had long been contained. Hashtags trended, video clips went viral, and opinion pieces proliferated across platforms. The conversation was relentless, and neither 50 nor T.I. could ignore the pressure. The public gaze had become a magnifying glass, amplifying every decision, every expression, and every reaction. In private, the stress manifested in subtle but noticeable ways. Sources claimed 50 had become more cautious in public interactions, double-checking statements and appearances to avoid unintended consequences. T.I., known for his measured demeanor, reportedly experienced moments of frustration, questioning the motives of those around him and reassessing whom to trust. Both men, seasoned and experienced, were navigating a new level of unpredictability, one fueled not by direct conflict between them, but by a third party whose influence was as volatile as it was invisible. The escalation reached a new peak when Aries released additional commentary that hinted at behind-the-scenes conflicts and past grievances. While nothing was fully substantiated, the implications were clear. There were private tensions and unspoken rules that had long governed interactions in this circle, and now they were out in the open. Fans speculated about the nature of these past incidents, debating whether they were misunderstandings, manipulations, or deliberate provocations. The ambiguity only intensified the intrigue, making each new statement a potential turning point. As the drama unfolded, insiders described a growing sense of wariness on all sides. 50 and T.I. were constantly alert, monitoring reactions and adjusting strategies. Friends and collaborators felt the pressure to remain neutral or pick sides carefully. Even casual interactions became loaded with significance, as any misstep could be interpreted as allegiance or betrayal. The environment was tense, unpredictable, and exhausting, and everyone involved was acutely aware that the situation had escalated far beyond initial expectations. Yet amid the chaos, one thing remained constant: Aries' influence. His commentary, timing, and framing had transformed a typical celebrity feud into a multifaceted, culturally resonant drama. He had become the pivot around which perceptions, emotions, and reactions rotated. Every new remark added layers of complexity, forcing 50 and T.I. to react thoughtfully, strategically, and with caution. The feud, once a private conflict, had become a public phenomenon, drawing attention not only from fans but from observers analyzing power dynamics, loyalty, and identity. As the days went on, the cycle of escalation and reaction showed no signs of slowing. Fans anticipated every public appearance, dissected every post, and speculated on every hint of tension. The industry watched closely, aware that the outcome could influence relationships, projects, and reputations for months to come. And at the center of it all, Aries maintained a calculated presence, a constant reminder that in this game, perception was as powerful as reality, and one well-timed comment could change everything. The tension seemed unending as the saga moved into an even more unpredictable phase. 50 Cent reportedly convened a series of private meetings with his closest advisors, analyzing every statement, every leak, and every viral clip that Aries had shared. Insiders described the mood as laser-focused and tense, with 50 pacing and debating potential responses late into the night. Meanwhile, T.I. remained deliberate and measured, preferring to consult his inner circle before responding publicly. But even with caution on both sides, the unpredictability of Aries' involvement made every move feel like stepping on a minefield. Fans noticed subtle shifts in tone, body language, and public interactions. Posts that seemed innocuous to outsiders were dissected endlessly. A smirk, a delayed response, or a single word could spark heated debates online. Every gesture became a signal, every interview a clue. Memes and clips spread rapidly, and commentators eagerly speculated on who had the upper hand. It felt like the feud had expanded beyond two men and a provocateur. It had become a cultural touchstone, a topic dissected on podcasts, shows, and forums across the internet. Aries himself continued to escalate the tension, carefully controlling when and how he spoke. In interviews, he recounted anecdotes of past disagreements, subtle provocations, and moments where loyalty had been tested. "People don't see what's behind closed doors," he said in one widely shared clip. "What you witness online is the tip of the iceberg. There's history, pride, and patterns that run deep." The statement struck a chord, and fans dissected every nuance, debating what was truth, what was exaggeration, and what was pure performance. Inside both camps, emotions ran high. Sources described 50 as visibly restless, pacing and speaking in fragments to his team about loyalty, perception, and the danger of allowing Aries to control the narrative. T.I., in contrast, leaned on a calm exterior, carefully crafting responses that maintained his image of reasoned authority while privately grappling with frustration and the pressure to act. Friends and family of both rappers found themselves caught in the crossfire, navigating sensitive discussions and balancing support with caution. Minor disagreements in private became amplified as everyone feared leaks or misinterpretations. The intensity increased when partial footage of a past interaction between 50 and T.I. surfaced online, allegedly showing an earlier disagreement that had gone unreported. Fans immediately pounced on the clips, speculating about motives, hidden tensions, and possible betrayals. Theories spread rapidly. Some argued that 50 had been holding back aggression for months, while others claimed T.I. had been subtly undermining him. The ambiguity fueled the feud further, and social media became a digital battlefield of opinions, memes, and heated commentary. Aries' strategic role remained pivotal. He did not merely comment on the feud, he orchestrated public perception, framing each revelation to maximize engagement and scrutiny. Insiders described his approach as methodical. Release a hint, allow speculation to build, then appear with clarifying context that provoked new questions. Fans debated his motives, some praising him for exposing hidden truths, others criticizing him for inciting conflict that could have remained private. In either case, his influence on the narrative was undeniable. The stakes extended beyond personal reputations to professional and financial implications. Collaborators and industry insiders reportedly hesitated to engage, concerned about aligning with either side during the heated feud. Meetings were postponed, projects delayed, and even casual partnerships became fraught with uncertainty. The impact revealed how a single conflict, amplified by media and a skilled provocateur, could ripple through the industry, affecting careers and alliances far beyond the original disagreement. As the feud persisted, the psychological weight on 50 and T.I. intensified. Sources noted signs of stress and fatigue, sleepless nights, heightened irritability, and constant vigilance over online chatter. Friends described both men as operating on high alert, measuring each public word and private action for potential repercussions. The stakes were no longer just personal. They had become about controlling the narrative, maintaining authority, and protecting long-term legacy. And yet, amid the chaos, Aries remained enigmatic. He continued to interject just enough to keep attention on the evolving story without fully committing to sides. Each appearance, each statement, each subtle tease amplified the conflict while keeping fans, insiders, and even the rappers guessing. He had become the fulcrum of a drama that combined personal pride, cultural significance, and high-stakes entertainment in ways that few anticipated. With each new development, fans and observers alike recognized that the feud had entered uncharted territory. What was once a rivalry between two men had evolved into a complex web of perception, loyalty, strategy, and influence. 50 and T.I. were no longer simply managing personal disagreements, they were navigating a public spectacle shaped by media, social scrutiny, and a provocateur who understood how to manipulate attention with precision. The stage was set, the players aware, and the drama far from over. The intensity of the feud reached a boiling point as private tensions spilled into public perception in ways that neither 50 Cent nor T.I. could fully control. Insiders revealed that meetings within both camps grew increasingly strategic, with advisors urging caution while emotions simmered just beneath the surface. 50, known for his aggressive confidence, was reportedly pacing late into the night, analyzing social media trends, scrutinizing interviews, and planning his next calculated moves. T.I., equally meticulous, leaned on trusted confidants, reviewing every potential scenario to ensure his image remained untarnished. Yet the unpredictable presence of Aries Spears as a vocal provocateur made every decision feel like a delicate gamble. Fans continued to dissect the drama relentlessly. Every tweet, post, and public statement was examined, clipped, and circulated with commentary that ranged from praise to condemnation. Even minor gestures, a smirk, a delayed response, or a casual remark, became fodder for heated debate. Aries' commentary only fueled the fire, his observations highlighting tensions that had long simmered unnoticed, giving fans and insiders alike the sense of witnessing a rare, unfiltered glimpse behind closed doors. Some celebrated him as a truth-teller, others criticized him for turning private disputes into public spectacle, yet his influence on the narrative was undeniable. As the feud progressed, leaked content from private interactions added another layer of complexity. Video clips, incomplete and edited, showed fragments of conversations filled with emotion, frustration, and subtle power plays. 50 was seen asserting authority, gesturing emphatically, and emphasizing loyalty and control, while T.I. maintained a calm, deliberate presence, addressing matters with measured precision. These glimpses into unguarded moments amplified speculation, as fans debated the authenticity and implications of what they were seeing. The leaked content blurred the lines between perception and reality, creating an environment where interpretation often mattered more than fact. Aries' strategic engagement continued to escalate tensions. In interviews, live appearances, and social media remarks, he shared anecdotes and insights that framed the feud in a broader context of pride, respect, and the intricate social dynamics within the entertainment world. "People think this is just entertainment," he remarked in one widely circulated clip, "but it's about history, about patterns, about respect that runs deeper than what you see online." His words reverberated, prompting intense analysis and discussion. Every statement seemed timed to provoke thought, stir debate, and challenge assumptions, while keeping the primary players off balance. The ripple effects extended far beyond personal reputations. Industry insiders, collaborators, and business partners became increasingly cautious, weighing their involvement against the risk of public association with either side. Projects were postponed, negotiations slowed, and even routine interactions took on heightened significance. The feud demonstrated how personal conflict, when magnified by media attention and a calculated provocateur, could affect not only individual careers but also broader professional networks. Stress and fatigue reportedly began to take their toll on 50 and T.I. alike. Sources noted late nights, heightened irritability, and persistent vigilance over public discourse. Friends described both men as hyper-aware, scrutinizing every interaction for potential repercussions. The pressure was no longer limited to managing a personal dispute. It encompassed controlling narrative, protecting public image, and maintaining authority in the eyes of fans, collaborators, and the industry at large. Both men were navigating a high-stakes environment where every decision carried weight, and missteps could have lasting consequences. Despite the escalating chaos, Aries maintained an enigmatic and calculated presence. He remained a central figure in the unfolding drama, influencing perception without fully committing to either side. Each remark, each tease, and each contextual insight heightened tension while keeping fans, insiders, and the rappers themselves uncertain. His role blurred the lines between commentator, mediator, and provocateur, creating a dynamic where the feud was as much about narrative control as it was about personal conflict. As developments continued, the stakes reached unprecedented levels. What had begun as a personal clash between two high-profile figures had evolved into a multi-dimensional spectacle, encompassing strategy, perception, loyalty, and cultural significance. Social media, industry insiders, and fans were deeply engaged, analyzing every nuance and speculating on the next move. The public feud had grown into a phenomenon that transcended traditional celebrity conflicts, a narrative where influence, timing, and interpretation became just as critical as the original dispute. And in the midst of it all, Aries' presence ensured that the drama would remain unpredictable, drawing attention and forcing the central figures to navigate a complex, high-pressure landscape with each passing day. The feud showed no signs of slowing down, and what had once been private tensions had fully erupted into a public spectacle. 50 Cent reportedly became more guarded, controlling his interactions and scrutinizing every statement from both fans and industry insiders. According to sources, he held extended strategy sessions with his closest advisors, weighing responses and analyzing how Aries' commentary might influence public perception. T.I., known for his measured demeanor, remained deliberate, consulting trusted friends before engaging in any public statement. Yet despite their experience and caution, both men were increasingly reactive to the unpredictability that Aries had introduced into the situation. Social media became a battlefield. Every subtle gesture, delayed post, and ambiguous comment was dissected and circulated widely. Fans speculated endlessly, forming factions that defended one side while criticizing the other. Aries' remarks only intensified the frenzy. His observations on loyalty, pride, and cultural dynamics resonated with audiences, prompting debates that went far beyond the original rivalry. Memes, commentary videos, and speculative threads multiplied, each new post acting as a spark in a digital wildfire. The drama had transcended mere celebrity conflict and entered the realm of a social phenomenon. The tension between 50 and T.I. was magnified by leaked footage and private conversations that surfaced online. Clips, edited and incomplete, revealed moments of frustration, strategic thinking, and raw emotion. 50 was seen pacing and asserting authority, emphasizing loyalty and control, while T.I. maintained calm, measured composure, addressing the situation with precision and deliberation. Fans analyzed every word, gesture, and expression, turning these glimpses into fodder for intense discussion. The ambiguity of the footage created a fertile ground for speculation, further fueling the ongoing conflict. Aries' role remained pivotal. He strategically shared anecdotes and insights that framed the feud within a broader context of respect, cultural expectations, and power dynamics. "It's not just a game of words," he said in one viral clip. "It's about history, patterns, and respect that runs deeper than what's visible on social media." His calculated engagement ensured that attention stayed fixed on the drama, compelling 50 and T.I. to navigate both public perception and their private strategies carefully. Insiders described Aries as a masterful provocateur, capable of influencing the narrative while remaining enigmatic, neither fully siding with nor completely opposing either party. The impact extended beyond the personalities at the center. Collaborators, industry professionals, and business associates grew wary of involvement, concerned about aligning with one side in a conflict that had far-reaching public consequences. Deals were postponed, meetings rescheduled, and casual interactions became laden with significance. The feud illustrated how a personal rivalry, when amplified through media attention and a calculated provocateur, could ripple through professional networks, affecting careers, alliances, and reputations on multiple levels. Stress was increasingly evident for both 50 and T.I. Sources noted signs of fatigue, sleepless nights, and heightened irritability. Friends and family described both men as hypervigilant, constantly monitoring social media and private communications to anticipate potential consequences. The feud was no longer confined to personal disputes. It had become a test of narrative control, public perception, and influence. Every decision carried weight, and both men understood that missteps could have long-lasting ramifications. Throughout the escalation, Aries remained central to the unfolding narrative. His timely commentary, strategic reveals, and ability to provoke reflection ensured that he held significant influence over the feud's direction. Each public appearance or statement amplified tension while maintaining uncertainty about his true intentions. His role blurred the line between commentator and instigator, creating a dynamic in which the primary figures were forced to navigate an unpredictable and high-pressure environment. As days turned into weeks, the feud continued to evolve into an intricate spectacle. What began as a personal clash between two artists had grown into a multi-layered drama encompassing strategy, perception, loyalty, and cultural commentary. Fans, industry insiders, and commentators engaged deeply, analyzing each nuance and anticipating future developments. The drama had become a phenomenon, not only a feud but a narrative shaped by influence, timing, and interpretation. Aries' presence ensured unpredictability, compelling 50 and T.I. to constantly assess, adjust, and respond, knowing that each move could shift the balance in an already volatile situation. And now, after weeks of escalating tension, public speculation, and behind-the-scenes drama, the feud between 50 Cent and T.I., magnified by Aries Spears' commentary, has reached a point where no one can predict what will happen next. Fans are shocked, insiders are tense, and the cultural conversation around loyalty, respect, and influence continues to intensify. The private conflicts that once existed behind closed doors are now front and center for the world to dissect, debate, and interpret. Every post, every interview, every subtle gesture is being watched, analyzed, and dissected, leaving the family, friends, and collaborators caught in the crossfire of emotions, perception, and anticipation. The story is far from over. Questions remain. Will 50 and T.I. find a resolution privately, or will Aries continue to stir the pot, keeping fans on edge? How will the industry respond to this prolonged spectacle, and what long-term effects will this have on alliances, reputations, and future collaborations? One thing is certain: the dynamics of power, pride, and influence are being tested like never before, and the world is watching every move with bated breath. The drama has shown that in this game, perception is as potent as reality, and every action can have consequences that echo far beyond the immediate circle. If you've been following every twist, every revelation, and every heated interaction, now is the time to share your thoughts. Do you think 50 Cent and T.I. will ever truly reconcile, or is this just the beginning of a long, dramatic saga? We want to hear your take on who came out on top, who was most affected, and what this means for the future of celebrity conflicts. Make sure to like this video if you were shocked by these revelations, subscribe so you never miss another explosive update, and leave a comment below with your opinion, because your voice matters in this conversation. The drama is ongoing, the stakes are high, and the next move could change everything. So stay tuned, stay engaged, and don't miss a single moment of this unforgettable saga.